When you're, like this is not your assignment. This is an example. So just look at that. Unplug me home. Okay? So here, for example, you have 1 times 10 to the negative fifth. Opposite the charge is your actual pH. So what's opposite of negative 5?
5.
Yep. And so you're going to have 5 here. Now, how does that 5 fit into this scale? So is it an acid, a base, or is it neutral? It's an acid. Very good. Okay, so that scale that you got yesterday is what you're going to use. Okay, so now remember your main objective is to figure out your pH, or you might have to figure out your pOH. If you have that hydrogen with a plus charge in there, that means you're looking for the pH. If you have the brackets with an OH and a negative, that means you're looking for the pOH. The pH is always going to be the one that's going to give you whether it's an acid or a base. Okay? So if you're given the pOH, you have to figure out the pH. Okay, so let's do an example of that. Like over here, they're giving you a pOH of 9. 9 plus what will give you that 14?
5.
Yep, and so your pH is 5. Now, using this pH, now you can figure out whether it's an acid, a base, or if it's neutral, right? So what is this?
Acid.
Yep, it's an acid, okay, because 0 through 6 is going to give you that acid. Very good, okay? All right, so now let's look at one down here. Here you have 1 times 10 to the negative 12. So what's my pH?
Positive.
Yep, it's just a 12. And so now, is that an acid, base, or neutral?
Base.
It's a base. Very good. And that's it. What questions do we have so far? Okay. Remember, your first thing is you're going to identify if it's an acid, a base, or neutral. Okay? If they're giving you something, let's look at the bottom part of this. You still don't know how to do it? Huh? Okay. Like here they're giving you 1 times 10 to the negative 2. So what's my pOH? Because it's the OH. So what is it? If you have a negative 2, it's just a regular 2, right?
Yeah.
So now, the pOH is not going to tell me whether it's an acid or a base, right? What do I need to figure out? The pH. So, if I have a 2 pOH, how can I figure out my pH?
So it's 12 because you added 14.
Yep, because 12 plus that 2 gives me that total of 14. That's going to be your amount, right? So now that you know you have a pH of 12, is it an acid, base, or neutral?
Base.
It's a base.
When is it going to be a neutral?
When you get, that's a good question. Like here you have a negative 7. So your pOH would be 7. That means your pH is 7. When you have a 7, that's neutral.
Just a 7.
Okay, good question. Anybody else? No one has a question? No one stuck?
No.
You're just identifying, that's it. We all good?
Yep.
Okay, so now on the back side, it's not going to get harder. You need to identify whether it's a salt, is it an acid, or is it a base? Okay? And this is where you're going to use the notes from yesterday. Remember I gave you a list of the strong acids, the strong bases, the weak bases, and the strong bases?
Yeah.
You're going to use that list today. Okay? So let's say I give you something like, okay. No, it's not the beer. It's to Okay, so now, out of the stuff that you have here, which one's my acid? What do you have to have for it to be an acid?
OH.
Remember that an OH, the hydroxide, is a base.
It's a base.
Okay? So the first one, because H in front is your acid over here.
So any one of these has an 8 or H would be a base.
An H in front is an acid.
No, but
and-
what about OH?
The OH in the back, yes, that's going to be a base. Okay, and that's it. Anything else that doesn't have the H or it doesn't have the OH, that's going to be a salt.
So, Miss, what if it's like NOH, but like not in parentheses? Then it's a base.
Well, you're never going to have just a nitrogen and an OH.
So, well, on this one it's
NOH.
KOH.
Okay, yes, you can have a
It's
KOH.
still base.
So that is a base because of the OH. But now, on the second blank, you're going to tell me, is it a strong base or is it a weak base? You're going to look on that list. Blah. It's the end of the day. Okay? That's a good question. Anything else? No, we have no questions on it?
Nope.
Okay, this is super short and sweet. So we're going to grade it today. Plus, we're going to also, anytime you have a reaction, you're going to have an acid and a base. For it to neutralize is the double replacement reaction. It's going to give you a water and a salt. Salt. So if it's not an acid and if it's not a base, then that means it has to be a salt. Okay, because that's what those are the only choices you have on that page. Okay.